Right, okay, so I told you we'd give a bit of a rundown on the Mchale Fusion 3, which is a 2022 model. Now, this baler arrived in May of this year, I would say. Yeah, pretty much first few days of May, maybe early April, in around that week, shall we say. So, to go backwards a small bit, originally we would have had a Welder 235, which was a brilliant baler actually. They were very, very good. That's what we started out with. And then we moved to Fusion 1. And the Fusion 1 doing a good bit of baling for us. But obviously it had work done and there was always running repairs to do and stuff like that. But they were a pretty good machine, to be fair. But there was kind of always something. I would have loved to have used one of them when they were new to see you know, how they were back in the day. But obviously it had a lot of work done, so it wasn't going to be perfect. But anyway, moving on from that, the spring of 2020, it just transpired that with the COVID lockdown, we got some great weather, if you can remind yourselves to that. Some absolutely massive weather, and we were very busy at reseeding. A lot of farmers decided they were going to, you know, renew ground, and that kind of happened for us. It made us very busy. Our Mchale Fusion 1 was sitting right here where our CVX 175 is, and we had not time to give a run through it, which is something we used to always do with the balers, is give them a good service before we went using them, to kind of make sure that the season would go with as little hiccups as possible. But that just was not possible for us that year. So we made the decision pretty late in the year that we would go for a new one. Like I say, it was the springtime. So I spoke to the dealer, our local dealer. To be honest, I wasn't going to speak to anyone too far away when it was going to be our first new machine. I said, local dealer, we'll get the baler off of him. Everything will be hunky-dory, you know. Local man looked after, we'll be looked after, everyone will be happy. So it was June, I think. It was the first few days in June we got that baler. Obviously, because I had ordered it so late, I was very lucky actually to get a baler that late in the year, I would say. But we got it anyway, and it didn't do any first cut that year. It was kind of halfway. We'll say the Fusion 1 was it struggled, but it made it through it. It made it through the war. But that was a big year as well that year for us. But this one didn't kind of had an easy time because the big volume of bales was put through the one. So the first Fusion 3 had it a bit easy for the first season, and we got on great with it. The only difference with it was this one was a 1,000 speed PCO, and that one was 540. So it subsequently then done the whole lot of the 2021 season, and at the end of 2021, kind of said it to the dealer, maybe the bale count on this machine is attractive for somebody because it's not too high, but it's not very low either. It's kind of, it'd be at the point, it was around, I think, 17,000 bales or something like that. So it was 16, yeah, it was 16. So it was at that after 2 seasons work, which kind of made it attractive for somebody, you know. Obviously the price was going to be good for them, and the bale count was going to be low. So that's kind of how that came to play. We were going to change this one. Like I say, I was lucky the way that baler came. It missed out on a first cut that season, which made the jump to this one a little bit easier for me, because I hadn't 20,000 bales or 21 or 2,000 bales up in it, which would have made a bigger jump, which maybe this mightn't have happened if that was the scenario. But anyway, it happened, and we came to be with this one. So how this one got on, from day one, we had, from not even Bale 1, from when it came home, we had some issues with oil leaks, which we were pretty much plagued with all the season. Leaks everywhere across the board on the machine. And to be fair to the dealer, they done what they could, just came out and squeezed them up. But a little bit annoyed at it because it led to a good bit of downtime. It also emptied the hydraulic tank of the tractor 3 times over the course of the season, because it was leaking at the back a couple of times and you couldn't see that while you were baling, so she was emptying away the oil out of the tractor. Now, luckily enough, CVX has its own oil tank. It's able to, you know, if that's empty, it's affecting your spools and stuff like that, but it's not. Your transmission isn't controlled to it. So I don't know what would have been the story if this was a tractor that shared its hydraulic oil with its transmission oil. If we had ran it so low when the tractor was so hot and working so hard, would we have had transmission failures? Who's to know on that one? So that was very annoying. We also had another issue with our with other issues with the machine as well, which, to be fair, I don't think it was handled as well as it could have been. There's a block on the side of the machine. If that whole block was changed first day, the issue would have been cured. It was obvious that that was going to cure the issue, but it dragged on, and there were several other things done, and there was little adjustments made that just dragged it on for 3 weeks. And there was several visits from the dealer, and Mchale also made a visit to the machine before it was rectified. I had to get a bit annoyed at the whole situation to get that problem rectified. Now, again, I must say that our dealer has been as helpful as our dealer could possibly be throughout the year with this machine. I'm not faulting the dealer in any way, shape or form, but moving on from that, I suppose, this was a bit of a sticking point, and this is kind of leaving the bitter taste in our mouth. The most of all issues is this system doesn't really work brilliantly now. Your crop roller isn't a full, your second crop roller isn't a full wheat. So we've got a visit, and we've been told that the second crop roller can't be put to full wheat because the tine will actually start bringing the grass around the bend. And I don't know whether that's true or not. That's what I've been told, but you'd imagine if it's going to do it when this roller is the full length here, it would do it there. So anyway, that was in June, and what transpired out of that is Mchale promised us that they would change this system. They would put on a different one. It was recommended by the Mchale guy that visited us. He said, we'll take that off. We'll put on a different type of crop roller. It wasn't specified to me what type of crop roller it would be, but he said there is a different type of crop roller there, and we'll put that on the machine. So, as you can see, that never materialized. I was promised, and fobbed off that they weren't, they were busy making balers, and there were shortages of materials and all that. And so, anyway, out comes the Fusion 4, different type crop roller on the Fusion 4. Then I was kind of promised that one, and that still hasn't materialized. It's now December. It's one of the real sticking points for me. It's a small issue. I know, I understand that. Don't come to my yard and promise me you're going to put parts on my baler, then not do it. It's annoying. It's very, very annoying. It's ridiculous. It's entirely possible to fit a Fusion 4 Type 1 on this machine if they were willing to do so. That would be done months ago. To be honest with you, I think it was just being fobbed off. See would the problem go away, and when my warranty is up, I'd probably be told, oh yeah, but your warranty is up. So that was after they visited us with that issue. Like I said, we were promised that. The season went on, several more oil leaks. We're up on 10 dealer visits to the machine at this stage, shoving on maybe mid-season that way. It was actually, we were next door here, I think, baling, and I was drawing the bales, and I could hear a bit of a banging noise. So I came over to give a look, stopped up the machine, opened the side panel, and I'll go over and show you now. So I opened up this side panel where you put in your plastic, and the wrapping ring was actually hitting the panel here. Hard to see it now with our light. I'll turn the light on this. It's only barely hitting it, but it was hitting it, and it shouldn't be hitting it. 1 second, we get a light. So as you can see, all the green paint there is that was the wrapping ring was starting to hit. Lucky enough, it caught it in time to burst the panel or something, but I think our panel was loose, and also our light here fell off. All that bracket fell off, and the wrapper hit that in as well. So that was another issue we had, and the dealer had to actually take away the machine to sort that out, as long as with another couple of issues, which was the panels were hitting each other down here as well. So after that, then the machine came back, and when it had started netting the bale, it had started squeaking mad. There was a mad noise out of the netter unit, and every time it was netting the bale, it sounded like there was a bearing failure in it. So again, the dealer had to take away the machine and sort that issue. At the same time, there was also some noise came out of the cut and tie of the baler. So that was that. I suppose I'm being 100% honest in this. Like I said, the dealer looked after our issues. We had a lot of them. There was one or two I didn't mention. One issue I raised with Mchale was Bale's shape. We put this in a field with a Fusion 1. We were both going down the row. We were able to go the same distance. We were putting the same amount of grass into each bale, but the Fusion 4 bale, or sorry, the Fusion 1 bale was noticeably squarer. It had a squarer edge. These rows were grouped with our X8s, and I was driving the X8s the day I grouped them. I have thousands upon thousands of acres mowed at this stage, so if I don't know how to make a proper row, well then I think I should give up. You know, the row formation was perfect for the machine. That wasn't the issue. You're able to make tiny adjustments on the X8s to basically to your groupers. You can restrict and increase oil flow to each grouper, which then in turn varies the width and the shape of your row. So you're able to get it pretty much bang on the way you want to present it to the baler, and the way you wanted to present it to the baler is for the baler to make a lovely square edge on the bales, which this one does not do, or anywhere near as tidy as an early model. So that's, yeah, I've observed that anyway from looking at these balers around the place, and that was my gathering of the whole thing. That I think their intake is so good now. It wasn't very good on the ones, but it's so aggressive now. It's taking in so much volume. That's what's leading to that. You're getting larger bales, physically larger bales, and the edges aren't as nice in them. Which brings me to my next point. On our old one, I couldn't give you RPMs, but our rotor was going a nice bit faster on our last Fusion 3. On this model, they've slowed it down. There's obviously some reason, Mchale have some reason for slowing it down. My opinion on it is it's not a good idea. It doesn't really, I don't think it's a good idea, because if you have a conveyor belt going into a crusher, or if you have any sort of intake feed system, if you have grass going into a forage harvester, if you have it going into anything, the faster you turn, your conveyor is going at a set speed all the time, feeding in crop, feeding in anything, and at the end you have something that's taking in that crop. If you slow it down, every revolution of that, it has more crop to take in. There's more volume. It's putting everything under more strain. The faster you turn that, the more whip you have, the less the less crop that it has to take with every bite. There's less grass has to pass through your knives every turn. The rollers of the baler are trying to deal with less material every rotation. You'd imagine that's a better setup, but that's my opinion on it anyway. I don't think that was an improvement by him. So yeah, what would I say after our year? I think they're a good machine, but I think we just got a kind of one that wasn't really assembled properly. And going from that, the way Mchale dealt with the issues was kind of really turned a blind eye to it. Like I say, they kind of pretty much agreed that this crop roller setup could be improved on, that they were going to change that, because what it does is it starts balling the grass inside in the corner here. Eventually it takes it in, but it goes in a big lump. So they said they were going to change that. Didn't change it. So yeah, what can you do about that? I just don't like being lied to, I suppose, really, being told I'm going to receive something and then not get it, you know. I don't think it's a proper way to do your business. So that's the way that one transpired. At this stage, I've went a whole season with this crop roller. There was no point in promising me I was going to get a crop roller this season and not make it happen. You'd have been as well not say anything at all about the crop roller. It would have been better for me and it would have been better for you. But anyway, that's how we got on. Not impressed with all the stoppages, not impressed with the build quality on the machine. There's definitely big assembly issues there somewhere that I don't know whether I'm the only one that had it. Maybe I am or not. Like, I'm not. They're a good machine to do their job, but it's just I had one that obviously wasn't properly checked over before it left the factory, and it just, there's kind of there's been no balance. I suppose there's been no point where Mchale have come and said, we're awfully sorry for your troubles. Here, we're going to do this for you. Now, we have spoke about it. They offered us an extra year's warranty, and I said, I don't really think that would be sufficient for the problems I've had, for the downtime I've had, because we had a lot of downtime waiting for hoses to be squeezed, waiting for pipes to be squeezed. We were without the baler for a couple of days. There was staff sitting in fields waiting for us to go. My concerns about the bale shape were pretty much dismissed as I made them. So that was kind of the way it was all handled. And anyway, the offer they came back with after saying that a year's warranty wouldn't be sufficient was a year's warranty again. So again, that was another thing that we said that wasn't really listened to at the end of the day. So look, what can you do? That is what it is. I'm giving ye my review of the machine. Lovely appetite for grass, lovely pickup, all the rest of it. I just think I had one that was kind of not checked over properly before it left the factory. And look, what can you do? It is what it is. Mchale will have left a reputation from the way they've handled this now in my book. And what do I think of it? Well, I'm not really going to say what I think of the way they've handled it, but I think you'll gather it from my ranting on. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching, and have a nice Christmas.